Hi guys, welcome to Lenny Movie Fan Channel. My name's Tyler. Today's review is going to be for The Mandalorian, Episode 1, Chapter 1, The Mandalorian. I'm really excited. This is my first Star Wars review I'm doing. I'm going to be reviewing the Mandalorian episodes 2 a week, one on Tuesday and one on Thursday until we catch up. So this is Episode 1 today on Tuesday. Thursday, we're going to do episode 2, and we're going to continue like that until season 2 starts, October 30th. Then I'll post a review for that the following day after the episode airs. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you give me a thumbs up down below, hit the like button, share this video around to all your friends and family on Facebook, Twitter, social medias, and make sure you hit subscribe and hit the little notification bell. That way you get alerts when I post a new video. I was really excited when they announced this show. I was like, oh, what is this going to be? It could be anything. The Mandalorian, you're like, oh, shit. And it really went for like a Western vibe, and you kind of get that right away. You get the Star Wars vibe in the beginning because they walk into like a cantina, and you're like, okay, this feels familiar. When the door opens and the Mandalorian's standing there like a gunslinger, you're like, oh, hell yeah. It's like an old Western movie. And I love that right away they drop little things like Beskar and Bounty Puck, and you're like, what the hell is that? Even like Star Wars nerds like me are like, what the hell is that? So you're immediately like, you got me to like lean in and be like, huh? What? That was exciting for me because I pick apart every little thing and I'm like, what the hell is that? I don't know what that is. Get that. What? And I go back and rewatch it and I'm like, I'm trying to figure out what everything is. Pause stuff. But it really expands the lore. It's like the coins in John Wick where he can like give you his coin or whatever and you have to do something to help him out. You have to do it. You can't refuse it. And when the Mandalorian walks into that bar, it's like Terminator 2. He's just like badass. He's like, I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle. And he just like grabs the guy. Piece of shit out of him. It was crazy that he cut that guy in half with the doors that close because you always like picture those doors closing. You're like, man, it's something you kind of like always thought about, and then you're like, oh, they did it. Oh my god, that's crazy. I think the guy that was the bounty that he was going after, the blue guy, was kind of annoying. As soon as he opened his mouth and started talking with like a weird, like the way he talked, I was like, oh my god, he's kind of on my nerves a little bit. I wish he was like speaking Huttese or something, like, because he was rather annoying. Even if they just give him subtitles, like I think they should have did that with the Nemoidians and Phantom Menace, but of course they didn't. They made them talk with their racist, stereotypical way that they talked. Not that this was like that. It was just like annoying and a little bit out of place with the whole vibe that they were going for. And the first words that you hear the Mandalorian say are, I can bring you in warm or I can bring you in cold. And you're like, oh my god, that is fat ass, dude. And when the title card drops and Ludwig Göransson's score drops in, and you're like, this shit is so badass. I'm like, oh, this song's hard. Damn, that theme is badass. And then when he goes to get in the speeder, I thought it was interesting that the Mandalorian doesn't like droids. And they established that in like the first episode right away. They kind of made a point to be like, no, I don't want to get in that one with the droid. I don't trust it. And they set that up. The Clone Wars and the Confederate Army, droid army, he doesn't like droids because they must have killed his family or whatever. That's the reason he's a foundling. So it's kind of the precursor to everything that's happening in this season was set up because at some point the droid army attacked Mandalore and he was there. There's a CGI monster when he's taking that bounty guy into a ship that comes out of the ice and you're like, oh my god, it looked really cool. It was like a hippopotamus like on a big like snake or whatever, but the CGI in it was really, really good. It didn't look fake at all. It was like, oh my god, holy shit. Nothing looks fake. That like cool cylinder thing that they have the behind the scenes, the way that they shoot and they can move that around the set and have it be different backgrounds and have half of the shit be real and half of it be on that screen. It makes everything look real. That monster came up out of there and I was like, oh my god, that looks like a real thing. Then when he gets the guy into the ship, the guy's like, is it true that you guys don't take off your helmets? And I'm like, what the hell? Sabine takes off her helmet all the time. Pre-Vizsla, I don't think he wore a helmet more than 30 seconds in the whole Clone Wars thing. So Rebels, Clone Wars, all these like animated shows that they have set up, they have been following that. Like it's like to a T. And the Clone Wars was all George Lucas. So they're kind of going off of that. It's canon and it should be. Supposedly everything is. But they contradict the books all the time. So I'm like, what's up with that? And there's still some wiggle room in the timeline that they can be like, well, when they had the Purge or the Great Purge or whatever they're calling it, and they attack Mandalore, the Empire, and supposedly wipe them out or put them in hiding or whatever. Maybe they sat down and were like, hey, we're just going to always wear a helmet now. You can't take it off. Or maybe it's just the foundlings just wear the helmets, you know, and they can't take it off. It's like part of their initiative to prove that they're Mandalore or whatever. I don't know. They still got time to like flesh it out and show us, but I thought that was interesting too. So he brings that guy in the ship and he's like, oh, oh man, I got to shit. He just goes downstairs and you're like, damn, this is the first time I've ever seen a toilet in Star Wars. I'm a nerd, so I know that, but I'm sure a lot of other people didn't like think twice about it. I also like that when he goes down in the underbelly of the ship, there's carbon freezing that the Mandalorian just has on his ship, like ready to go, and he has bounties already frozen in there. So it looks to be more common than it was when we first saw it in The Empire Strikes Back, because Darth Vader's like, we have to test it out on somebody that I don't care about. So he's like, Han Solo, get in there. And Boba Fett's like, you can't do this. Like, he's worth more to me alive than dead or whatever. And he's no good to me dead, whatever he said. And Darth Vader's like, well, I need to know that it's not going to kill my son. So you better, we're going to test it on this guy, and you better shut up because I'm altering the deal. So it was cool that the ship actually had one on it, and it was just ready to go, and it always worked, and he just threw the guy in there, and it froze him. But it looks like Boba Fett kind of mainstreamed that once they knew that it was an effective method and it was always going to work, unless he didn't care if the guy lived or died, and he was just going to throw him in there anyway. Damn, Greef Karga, though, played by Carl Weathers, Apollo Creed. Come on, Stallion. Come on, Stallion. Oh, my God, man. I was like, yo, Apollo Creed's in this. He took Chubb's hand. He's Chubb's in Happy Gilmore. I'm like, hell yeah. So he's awesome. And immediately he's got this gravitas that he brings to the guy. And he's got the swag, too. He's got the cape like Lando. He's like, what up? I love Carl Weathers. And when I went to Star Wars Celebration in Chicago, he was there, and there was the Mandalorian panel. He came out, and he was like the real-life Apollo Creed, and he was just riling up the crowd. He was saying all shit. He was like skipping around like Apollo Creed. He was doing the Ollie shuffle. He was making everybody laugh. And I was like, oh my God, I can't wait for this guy to be in Star Wars. And then we saw some behind the scenes clips, and I was like, dude, he's a badass too. And like, he was really good. But his character, immediately, you're like, I don't know if we should trust him. Like, what's going on with him? He seems kind of like a scum and villainy guy. So I don't know. Then when he sends the Mandalorian to go get a new job from the client, when he goes into that building, there's the little doorbell droid, I like to call it, from Return of the Jedi. It looks like the little microphone I got right here, and it comes out and it's like, opens the door, and there's a gong droid in there, and I'm like, oh my God. And then later you see like a Salacious Crumb type Kowakian monkey lizard, and I'm like, oh my God. And nobody else knows what this is, so I could be watching this with my dad, and he'd be like, what the fuck are you making all those noises for? Speaking of the client, Werner Herzog is so menacing, and that accent he does, like, oh my God. And when we were in Chicago and we were watching it, they showed that full scene, his introduction scene. People in the crowd, me included, like gasped when the blast door slides open and you see all the stormtroopers in there, and everybody was like, oh no. And he just like walked in there like a badass, and they're like 4-on-1, I don't give a shit. And he was just like, I'll take those odds. So the Mandalorian looks cool in that, but Werner Herzog is so menacing with his German accent, and he's like, put down your blaster. It was interesting that scientist guy came in, and he's like, I need the baby alive. What are you doing trying to kill him? Werner Herzog's like, I don't give a shit. I know bounty hunters like struggle to sometimes do this job successfully when they have to drag a living person around. Might be easier with a dead body. We just gotta get this thing. You know what I mean? So what they're doing with it, I don't know. Supposedly in one of the later episodes, it has a cloning patch on that scientist guy's jacket. So he's maybe a cloner from Camino, I guess. I don't know. I didn't know what the symbol was, but I love the character design of the armor too. I collect like the Star Wars Black Series figures, and they're releasing one of the armor, and just the character design of that like suit of armor she wears is so awesome. It's got like the little tiny horns on the like gold helmet, and it just looks badass with like the little cape like furry thing they got around their neck. And I like that character a lot. I wonder if it's going to be like somebody that we know in the Star Wars universe already, somebody from like Death Watch from the Clone Wars. I don't know, but I'd like to see that character pop back up, even for like a little bit. I don't want her to have like a big role, but I want her to kind of be like in God of War when that like little troll guy keeps popping up and he makes you the weapons. I would like for her to just like be on some other random planet, and Mando goes there again, and she makes Beskar for like Baby Yoda's little foundling suit or something. He's got like a Mandalorian helmet made of Beskar. That would be cool. But I like the scene when he goes in there and he has the Beskar that he got from turning in that bounty, and she makes him the shoulder pad when she's banging the thing and smithing the armor. I like that it has like the flashbacks to the Clone Wars when the droids were attacking Mandalorian. He was a little kid that we see in the later seasons, but they just give you a hint of it. You can tell that he's wrestling with something from his past that haunts him and makes him the way he is today. And we find that out eventually, and we see why he does the things that he does and why he's kind of in this business, why he doesn't like droids. Speaking of foundlings, that's new to canon too. Like I said, maybe that's why they don't take off their helmets. I don't know, but I thought that was interesting. I liked all the Mandos underground. People are like, there's Boba Fett, there's Boba Fett, there's Boba Fett. And I'm like, they all look like Boba Fett. They got the same armor. Like, I think Boba Fett's going to be in season 2. I don't know. People think he was in season 1. I don't know. Supposedly he's rumored for season 2. I know Tamara Morrison at the time of recording this is rumored for that, but I don't think he was in this episode when he walks in through where all the Mandalorians are underground hiding. I don't think Boba Fett's in there. All of Mando is on the desert planet. I don't know if that's Tatooine or whatever. It always seems like they're on Tatooine, but when he's looking through the scope of the gun, it was like A New Hope with Luke looking through the binoculars and he gets attacked by the Tusken Raider. You're like, no, he's like going to get attacked. I like that he always faces adversity when he's out on these missions. He's always getting his ass kicked. He's not like a perfect, like, god, like, ass-kicking machine. Like, 2 monster things are, like, attacking him right away, and he's like, like, getting his ass kicked before Queel shows up. By the way, Queel is so badass. If you would have told me that, like, an Ugnaught would be a main big character in a live-action Star Wars thing, I would have said, how are they going to do that? And they do it. There's a person physically in the suit, which I prefer. I think it's better when it's a person, at least. I mean, now they can do such crazy things with CGI, but it's practical to have a person in there. I think that was kind of cool. But then they have Nick Nolte do the voice with his gruffness and stuff. It fits so well. And he has that I have spoken line. That's like the line of the whole show. It's going to be on t-shirts and stuff everywhere. I have spoken. He's like the little Yoda type mentor of the series. IG-11's pretty badass too. He just walks up to like a bunker of like smuggler, like ragtag gangster guys, and he's just like, I'm gonna kill all these guys. He kills like 5 dudes, and then the Mandalorian's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, I'm in the guild. He shoots him, and then he kills like 30 more dudes, and they start working together. And Mando's killing guys too. It's just like a slaughter. They're like taking all these dudes out, which is pretty awesome. But Taika Waititi was funny, and he gives the droid character like in a robot that you think is just going to be like a killing machine and be like kind of like talk boring. He was like, he added some flair to it, and it made it funny when he was like offering to blow himself up over and over again. And it was also foreshadowing to when he eventually does that. So it shows you he has the ability to just pull the pin on the grenade and like kill himself. When he's spinning around that thing, though, you're like, oh my god, he was killing dudes, and they showed that at Star Wars Celebration also, and I was like, oh my god, the show is going to be insane. And it is. Then when they get inside the stronghold, they reveal the most cutest, precious being in all of anything. I got him right here. I'm just kidding. He even looks up and he gives the Mando a little ET phone home. He's like, hell yeah. If you don't want Baby Yoda, you either don't have eyes or don't have a soul. I thought it was really cool. Going through this review, I'm like, oh my god, a lot happened. They packed a lot into this episode. A lot of it comes back into play. They go back to see Queel. They obviously found Baby Yoda, so that's a big part of the whole arcing story. And Grief Karga comes back into play at different parts, but it feels like they like bounced around a lot, just going place to place, where we didn't really sit with Queel the whole episode. We didn't really sit with Grief Karga the whole episode. Some of the future episodes do that, where you'll have a whole episode with Cara Dune and they're saving a village, and, you know, it's not like they go to Grief Karga and they go to the armor and they go to wherever. This first episode felt like that. It was bouncing around a lot. I did like the pace, though. It didn't necessarily feel like that. But when you sit down and break it down, you're like, oh, yeah, they did really like just like bounce around location. That was kind of my problem with The Rise of Skywalker, where they're just like, now we got to go here. Now we got to go there. Now we got to go here. And you didn't really know where the Mandalorian was going. So it felt like mysterious. And it felt like he was just kind of doing his job on his daily, like, routine. Like, oh, I got to go to the store today and pick up some armor, and I got to do this, and I got to do that, and I got to go to work. And that's what he was doing. But you didn't know where he was going from that time. It was like in Rise of Skywalker, some guy that you didn't know would just walk on the screen and be like, and now you have to go here. And then they would go there, and then somebody else there would be like, and now you need a sword. You got to go there for it. And they'd walk down the street and like go get the thing that they need that would tell them to go somewhere else. And it's just like, that was annoying. So it didn't necessarily do that, but a lot happened. It was an action-packed first episode. But it has its peaks and valleys during the season of, like, it gives you time to sit with the characters. In other episodes, depending on what's going on, there's some good standalone episodes like that don't really factor in. But everything advances Mando's story and evolves his character, which is awesome. And then eventually in like the later episodes, they really bring everything back around, which Dave Filoni's really good at doing. He has some episodes that you're like, that's a filler episode, but if you look down into the meat of it, you're like, he had a purpose for that, and that advanced the narrative in some way and was really, character driven, if not story driven, at the core of it. That's my review for The Mandalorian, guys. I love Star Wars, so this is awesome. Going to do some more Star Wars videos, I think, down the line. Tune in tomorrow for my review of Nightmare on Elm Street, and then tune in Thursday for my Mandalorian Episode 2 review. And then Friday we're doing Hubie Halloween, the new Adam Sandler Netflix movie. I'm excited for that, too. I love Adam Sandler. But that's it for me, guys, and my Mandalorian first episode review. If you like the video, like I said in the beginning, give me a thumbs up down below. And may the force be with you. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.